media news top story. The son of CEO of big company has been caught in fraud of petty cash. Even though it might seem little impact to the industry, but it gives greater impact to the company since it is involved with fraud. Media news reporter Emilia, live from Putrajaya. Hello, Emilia.
Okay, yes, Farah. This case has probably been listed as a history for Malaysian economic industry for these years, as the case not just involved the company itself, but it also involved for many investors. And apparently now, the case is so good to be true. It just seems so good to be true.
So, what's the update now, and what's the current situation now in the Putrajaya?
Okay, what can I say now? All of us are still waiting here for us. We are still not receiving for any information regarding the case, and we are still waiting for them to out from the court.
Okay, thank you, Emilia.
Could you please give us any comment regarding the case?
Okay. Right now, we have no conclusion. Okay, so we are preparing for the next session meeting. Okay, thank you.
So, Mr. Shafiq, are you proven that you are guilty?
Could you give us more explanation regarding the case?
Please give us more comment.
The latest information that I have get today is the prosecutor has said to the judges that they will prepare a new document to be as an evidence to be prepared for the next trial. That's all for that I can share to you guys today. Live from Palace of Justice Putrajaya, I'm Emilia from Media News.
That's all for now. Stay tuned for the next update.
Hi and Assalamualaikum, I'm Emilia.
And I'm Farah.
And here we are back for our program, Talk Malaysia. And what do we have for today, Farah?
Okay, as we know, Emilia, Malaysia was hit with the fraud case that involved big and well-known company. So, and not to be mentioned, our program is the platform to discuss and get an opinion from the expertise.
And as usual, we are not alone, Farah. Here, today we have a very experienced panel from different background to discuss more regarding the fraud case.
Okay, before we introduce our panels, our program is sponsored by Squad Media Unit 10.
And not to be forgotten, for those who are watching our program from home, you guys also can ask the questions to our panel through our Facebook, which is at Talk Malaysia. So let's start. Okay, our first panel for today are Professor Ahmad, a professor from University Tenaga Nasional.
And we have YB Said Nasir, Ministry of Finance, Miss Ayuni, Auditor of KPMG,
and last but not least, Dato' Faris, a director from Asnaf Berhad, also known as a major shareholder for that company.
Okay, let's start with Dato' Faris. Okay, Dato' Faris, as the shareholder of Asnaf Berhad, what is your opinion about the case happened?
As a major shareholder in this company, I think this should not be happen. Because all of these things, we have provide a better mechanism to protect from any fraud or any petty cash issues. So in the petty cash issues seems to be small, but people seem to take granted and lack of internal control and protection to prevent this from happening. So even though petty cash seems small in any big company, but it will give a big impact to the company in the real life.
Okay, Dr. Faris, based from your experience as the shareholder of the big company, could you give us your own opinion regarding the fraud issue that had happened in Malaysia, especially regarding the petty cash? Because what can I say, from the public eyes, petty cash is like a small issue, but when it happens, it gives a big impact to the company. So could you give us your comment?
Petty cash, even though it seems to be simple, but most of the company might happen these issues. Since this issue is regarding about fraud, almost all the company that I invest have fraud issues such as Nabung Haji, Felda. Also, as a shareholder, we have to bear a lot of costs and loss to prevent these issues by inject a lot of capitals. But since the person who do the fraud does not have a sense of guilty, these issues cannot be prevented by itself.
Okay, Prof. Arman, just now we had here a comment and opinion from Razak Faris as the shareholder of the company regarding this fraud issue. So, from your own perspective as an accommodations, what can you say about this case?
Based on my research, the fraud of petty cash not only happened in our country, but it's also happened in other countries. For example, at Bethany College in West Virginia, a cashier office employee is charged for stealing more than $500,000. Next, in Pennsylvania, a Harrisburg Area Community College vice president pled guilty for using institutional fund, which totaling to $228,000 for personal use. Both cases can be related to the first stage of fraud, which we are discussing here, relating to the petty cash issue. So, petty cash also at the first stage of fraud in the company.
Okay, Prof. As we all know, fraud is a very big issue. It is also unethical behavior. Many parties have their own role to prevent fraud. As a corporation, what is your role to prevent fraud? And what is initiative taken to prevent fraud in Malaysia?
Lecturer and the teachers itself have to stress more on regarding the ethics to the student, which, for example, University International has a subject called corporate governance, which the student have to make an overview of a case study for them to learn a lesson for not doing the fraud. The other example is the club and society in the university. When the students are involving in an event, a person who hold a position of a treasurer should practice not doing the fraud in the early level, so that they will use to not doing the fraud in the working environment.
Okay, YB, before I proceed with the question, congrats on your winning in the recent PRU. Congrats, man. Okay, YB. As we all know, Asnaf Berhad is linked with government. As a ministry, what is your opinion about this case?
Winning 50,000 majority in Titi Wangsa is just a number. Prof, okay, back to the question just now. We as a government, we will always ensure that these all cases regarding to fraud will reduce by time to time. Especially in my ministry, in finance ministry. Recently, we have joined with a few NGOs and MACC, which known as Suruhanjaya Pencegahan Rasuah Malaysia. We have launched a campaign named 3J, which is Jangan Hulur, Jangan Kautim, and Jangan Settle. Because we believe that starting with corruption will lead somebody to do fraud in the future. And even though fraud in petty cash, as what has happened in Asnaf Berhad, it might seem not important to the society, but end up we see that this case is very big, even though it's just related with the petty cash. And I believe that we as a government, we will always find a way to reduce these fraud cases by time to time.
Okay, YB Sheikh Nasi, as we know, you are the icon from the youngsters. So, one of the questions that I found interesting from the Facebook account is from Mila Kurnia, which is, YB, what is the initiative taken by the government to control this kind of issue that happen in an organizations?
Okay, as what we know currently in Malaysia, we do not have any specific standard or regulation for the petty cash itself. And what I suggest is that government have to do some collaboration with MASB to come up with a specific standard and specific regulation for the petty cash, so that in the future there is no any fraud cases that going to happen. Because as what we see in our neighbor country, in Singapore and in Indonesia, that they are using GAAP, which GAAP have a specific standard for petty cash. And I believe that we as a government, we will always find a way for a better Malaysian in the future. So, hidup anak muda, ya.
Okay, we have heard an opinion from the shareholder, from the minister, and from the academician perspective itself. So, now we want to know and we want to gain an opinion from the perspective of the external auditor. So, Ms. Ayuni from KPMG, could you give us an opinion based on your experience as an auditor? Is there any internal control procedure that have done throughout the audit process?
Okay, as Datuk Faris said just now, I think the company should produce or publish interim report, which is usually interim report is focused more on the general expenses. So I think the company should publish or issue the interim report which is focused more on petty cash, so that the company can be more transparent to the public. And one more thing, I think that Asnaf company have a great control of petty cash, but maybe the son of the CEO use his power to get into the petty cash, or he try to get the authorization of the petty cash so that he can do the fraud of the petty cash.
Okay, last question for today. Let's pick from our Facebook. It is from Nimal.b. Okay, Miss Ayuni, he said that what if after the audit is done, but there is still fraud occur in the organisation?
Okay, since the amount of petty cash is not material to the big company, so I think the company itself should have the good internal control in order to reduce the fraud in petty cash.
Okay, thanks to Ms. Ayuni and also to all the other partners for tonight. It seems that all the questions has been answered by them, right, Farah?
Yeah. So we would like to thanks to our audience, and we hope that the fraud in petty cash industry Berhad will be solved as soon as possible. So don't forget to catch us up next week at the same time
And at the same day for the next episode. So,
Thank you guys.
Bye.